Hi, welcome back to another TerranScapes video. Today I wanted to give you a rarity. I actually decided to do a brief tutorial of how I apply the water effects to the river pieces. As I had several pieces that I needed to do, I thought I'd take the opportunity to just video my actual application technique so you could see that. And it's fairly brief, and I'll probably make a few comments during it, but hopefully you find it helpful. And after the end of the sort of application video section, we'll take a look at the finished product so you can see how it came out.
Alright, so here you can see the bare river piece. It's been coated with Envirotex. Actually, I'm not using Envirotex at the moment. I'm using Clear Coat, but it's the same idea. It's a 2-polymer resin that hardens to a very, very durable coating. I like to apply it first because it gives me a nice smooth base to work from in case the areas get too thin, and it also adds a little bit of depth just to increase that illusion of depth just a little bit more on the piece. Sometimes I've debated removing the Envirotex step and just going for the Liquitex application, but I haven't done that yet. And actually, in case you haven't followed my videos in the past, that is exactly what I'm applying at this moment. This is Liquitex Medium Gloss Gel. It's a medium-bodied gloss gel, and you can see the fancy application tool that I use, a popsicle stick. I haven't tried very many other kinds of tools at the moment, and I find that the rounded tip of the popsicle stick kind of allows me to push little curves and thin areas around with a little bit of ease, and I can roll the stick from side to side, which gives me a little bit of flexibility in that kind of how much pressure is applied to any one point along the surface. This is being shown at 1 speed, and now I'm just going to speed it up a little bit as quite a bit of the application process is repetitive. Now you can see how much I'm putting on the popsicle stick there. Sometimes I'll put in a bigger blob and put that down so I can push it around more. The nice thing about the medium gloss gel is that it has a relatively long dry time, so it's got a long working time, and you see from time to time I go back to areas that I've already done, and as I'm working on the piece I'm constantly checking back to front to see, are my ripples consistent in size, are there any we'll call them brush strokes, and you'll see what I'm talking about there in a close-up section that I'll show in a few minutes here. But basically the process is very repetitive as you work your way down. What I'm trying to do, and I'll talk about that again a little bit more in a second, is I'm trying to get a relatively thin application. So in general, I like to see the color coming through in between the waves. As a thick application is going to increase its dry time, and it's going to add to the hazing effect that can sometimes happen in high humidity. So here I wanted to slow it back down to a regular speed and give you a little bit more of a close-up overhead view so you can actually see that when you're pushing it around, you're going to end up with brush strokes, in essence, popsicle stick strokes, whatever you want to call them. And these are the hardest part of getting a good finish with this material is you really have to go back over and use a very gentle pressure so that you can push it around without leaving a lot of those lines in it, as they're really going to distort the effect and make it look very unnatural at the end. So you see, after I've spread it out, I'm going back over again, over spots multiple times to push it softly and to just gently kind of mosey it into ripples without leaving a lot of pressure on the actual surface, which is going to leave those brush strokes. So you see the initial application, a lot of strokes, a lot of lines in the application, and then subsequent touch-ups reduce that. So here I've sped it back up to about 7 times just so we can finish up this piece with a reasonable amount of time. And I guess the only comments I would have there at the end here is watching your edges as you try to push them against the edge. You want to get a nice seamless transition with the shoreline, and you want to make sure that you maintain a random distribution of your waves and crests. Really keep an eye on that, as if you don't really pay attention to what you're doing, you're going to end up with something that looks very patterned, and I think that's going to look pretty unnatural at the end. And there we are, pretty much with the finished piece.
And here you can see the finished piece. Current humidity in the basement is about 66%. It's been running in that range. It's hot and humid here in Massachusetts lately, but you can still see it's cleared up very nicely. It took a few days to get like this, and you can get a sense of how those ripples came out after seeing that application. So anyway, this is a bit of a rarity. Haven't done tutorials before, but I hope you've enjoyed, well, not really, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this one, and stay tuned to the channel as I've got a few more videos coming out very soon discussing some works in progress and talking about some of the design elements of those, and you might find that interesting. So thanks for watching once again, and feel free to leave comments down below, and I'll be back real soon with another video.